Albert Einstein. Born in Germany in 1879, Albert Einstein is one of the most celebrated scientists of the 20th century. His theories on relativity laid the framework for a new branch of physics, and Einstein's E=mc2 on mass-energy equivalence is one of the most famous formulas in the world. In 1921, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for his contributions to theoretical physics and the evolution of quantum theory. Einstein is also well known as an original free thinker, speaking on a range of humanitarian and global issues. After contributing to the theoretical development of nuclear physics and encouraging F.D. Roosevelt to start the Manhattan Project, he later spoke out against the use of nuclear weapons. Born in Germany to Jewish parents, Einstein settled in Switzerland and then, after Hitler's rise to power, the United States. Einstein was a truly global man and one of the undisputed genius of the 20th century. Einstein was born the 14th of March 1879, in Ulm, the German Empire. His parents were working-class, salesman, engineer, and non-observant Jews. Aged 15, the family moved to Milan, Italy, where his father hoped Albert would become a mechanical engineer. However, despite Einstein's intellect and thirst for knowledge, his early academic reports suggested anything but a glittering career in academia. His teachers found him dim and slow to learn. Part of the problem was that Albert expressed no interest in learning languages and the learning by rote that was popular at the time. At the age of 12, Einstein picked up a book on geometry and read it cover to cover. He would later refer to it as his holy booklet. He became fascinated by maths and taught himself, becoming acquainted with the great scientific discoveries of the age. Despite Albert's independent learning, he languished at school. Eventually, he was asked to leave by the authorities because his indifference was setting a bad example to other students. He applied for admission to the Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich. His first attempt was a failure because he failed exams in botany, zoology and languages. However, he passed the next year and in 1900 became a Swiss citizen. At college, he met a fellow student Mileva Maric, and after a long friendship, they married in 1903. They had 2 sons before divorcing several years later. In 1896, Einstein renounced his German citizenship to avoid military conscription. For 5 years he was stateless, before successfully applying for Swiss citizenship in 1901. After graduating from Zurich College, he attempted to gain a teaching post but none was forthcoming. Instead, he gained a job in the Swiss Patent Office. Special theory of relativity. This theory was written in a simple style with no footnotes or academic references. The core of his theory of relativity is that movement can only be detected and measured as relative movement, the change of position of one body in respect to another. Thus there is no fixed absolute standard of comparison for judging the motion of the earth or plants. It was revolutionary because previously people had thought time and distance are absolutes. But Einstein proved this not to be true. He also said that if electrons traveled at close to the speed of light, their weight would increase. In 1911, Einstein predicted the sun's gravity would bend the light of another star. He based this on his new general theory of relativity. On the 29th of May 1919, during a solar eclipse, British astronomer and physicist Sir Arthur Eddington was able to confirm Einstein's prediction. The news was published in newspapers around the world, and it made Einstein internationally known as a leading physicist. It was also symbolic of international cooperation between British and German scientists after the horrors of the First World War. In the 1920s, Einstein traveled around the world, including the UK, US, Japan, Palestine and other countries. Einstein gave lectures to packed audiences and became an internationally recognized figure for his work on physics, but also his wider observations on world affairs. During the 1920s, other scientists started developing the work of Einstein and coming to different conclusions on quantum physics. In 1925 and 1926, Einstein took part in debates with Max Born about the nature of relativity and quantum physics. Although the two disagreed on physics, they shared a mutual admiration. As a German Jew, Einstein was threatened by the rise of the Nazi Party. In 1933, when the Nazis seized power, they confiscated Einstein's property, and later started burning his books. Einstein, then in England, took an offer to go to Princeton University in the U.S. He later wrote that he never had strong opinions about race and nationality but saw himself as a citizen of the world. On the outbreak of war in 1939, Einstein wrote to President Roosevelt about the prospect of Germany developing an atomic bomb. He warned Roosevelt that the Germans were working on a bomb with devastating potential. Roosevelt heeded his advice and started the Manhattan Project to develop the U.S. atom bomb. But, after the war ended, Einstein reverted to his pacifist views. Einstein said after the war, "Had I known that the Germans would not succeed in producing an atomic bomb, I would not have lifted a finger." Newsweek, the 10th of March 1947, was fated as a scientist, but he was a polymath with interests in many fields. In particular, he loved music. He wrote that if he had not been a scientist, he would have been a musician. Einstein died in 1955. At his request his brain and vital organs were removed for scientific study.